road proposal and its terms, including acceptance of bus lanes at the expense of front yards, trees, and verges. The residents' associations are willing to participate in the local license forum and contribute local knowledge and experience to its workshops on this understanding. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming along on what's a very cold night tonight. Just a bit of housekeeping first. If anybody needs the toilets, they are through in the adjacent room. If there is a fire alarm, please hang out via the emergency doors at the back of the building.
Is the microphone working?
Yes,
I can't hear you.
Try again.
Can you speak much closer?
Try again. I'll just turn it up. Okay. Tonight is about the workshop for key challenges, an opportunity to look at some of the main elements of the scheme, to critique them, and for you to put forward some alternative ideas if you have any. At this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleagues from WSP who will take you through the agenda tonight, and then we'll give you a presentation before we actually get into the workshop sessions themselves. Just to remind you, like many of the other meetings, the event is being filmed and the footage will be provided in the coming days along with the outcomes from the workshop. One final plea. Obviously, it's important we capture all your thoughts in writing. If you can try to be as clear as you can with the way that you put down your notes, that makes it a lot easier for WSP to interpret your comments after the event. Sometime during the night, we'll give you a sheet of paper for each table, and if we can record everybody that's attending tonight, if you can give us your name and the organisation you're representing, if you have one. At this point, I'll hand over to WSP.
Thank you, Richard. Oh, there we go. That's volume for you. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, workshops today, guys, is kind of focusing on junctions, key junctions, Victoria Road, Gilbert Road, but also some of the sections that obviously interlink them, which are important to consider as well. So we'll do scene setting, which Richard's just done. Glenn will then take you through presentation on a suggested assessment criteria and some plans which you've got on your tables to help us record the feedback that's coming back. What we'll look to do is then have a look at the existing Junction design as it stands at the moment with the existing situation and get your pros and cons of what you feel about those designs. Then we'll have a break and then we'll look at some alternatives. Appreciate I've seen on tables you've already got some alternatives there. So those can be your alternatives, but also feel free to, we've got some blank plans there for you to undertake your own designs or take the ones that have been suggested by other people and then adapt them slightly to yourselves. And then what we'll do is we've done at all the sessions and have a feedback session. So what we'd like to record is the plans that pack of plans that are on there in terms of your new designs. We'd like to record that back. And also then at the feedback session form, so if you can come up, present, and kind of the salient points that come out for a discussion around that. I know there might be some designs that mostly come out tonight rather than key points, but we just still like to capture your concerns and ideas regarding the existing design, what you'd like to see in its place potentially. So without further ado then, I'll pass on to Glenn, who'll talk you through the assessment process we'd like you to think about and go through to this evening.
Okay, so in terms of what we're assessing, the existing design, the current situation, and any alternatives against. So it's useful to compare that against the objectives. How well do different aspects of these designs meet the objectives? So just running through the objectives, and right piece afterwards, it kind of distills it down to what we might assess it against. So just running through these quickly. So we have objective 2, comprehensive priority for buses, and that's to reduce journey time and improve reliability. So additional capacity for sustainable trips, and by that we're talking about reduced journey time, improved reliability for walking and cycling. And then increased bus capacity and new services, that's fairly obvious what in there. safer and more convenient routes for cycling and walking. So obviously that's related to road safety and reduce journey time, more convenient routes, and maintain or reduce general traffic levels, so that's all about congestion, and then enhance the environment, streetscape and air quality, so that relates to quality of public ground and the presence of trees and verges. So kind of distilling that down again, so we can assess each of these schemes. Here's how that breaks down. So in terms of reliability and journey time, we can assess it for motor vehicles, for buses only, for cyclists, and for pedestrians. And then one that's maybe not as easy to kind of get your head around is the ability of these different designs and the current situation to manage the network. So if it's a junction, for example, does that give you control to manage congestion versus a roundabout or versus not having any kind of control at all? And then road safety for general traffic, motor vehicles, road safety for cyclists, road safety for pedestrians. And then that final assessment factor, which relates to the final point before about the public ground opportunities and trees and verges. Now, on the final slide, I'll just talk through the kind of assessment plan you've got there, just to hopefully illustrate that a bit further. But just to show you which areas we intend to look at. So there's the two junctions, Junction Victoria Road and also the junction of Gilbert Road. And then we picked 3 cross sections. We could choose more, and I think we showed a couple more at the previous session. But these are typical cross sections that represent kind of the different configurations of the street. So they're the locations shown, and you've got set plans for each of these locations. So the idea is to go through these systematically. You can do it in any order you want, but it might be best to start from the south and go through each of those 5 areas, see how far you can get during today's sessions. Hopefully you can get to cover all 5, so you have a basic score assessing how it works at the moment, how it works with the proposed current design, and how it works with any alternative designs that you already have or you come up with today. So just to illustrate the thinking, and I don't necessarily expect to agree with all these advantages, disadvantages, but when you're going through in terms of assessing it for journey time, for road safety, obviously you're going to be thinking about the pros and cons. How well does this work for road safety versus journey time? And as you know, there's often a balance, and it's about what is the appropriate balance between those pros and cons. So just to kind of, illustrate that. So this is the Victoria Road Junction. So arguably, some of the advantages might be that it kind of gives priority a bit to east-westbound traffic, just because of the way the junction's laid out at the moment. There's no band turns, so you could say the advantage is unrestricted access for all of those movements. But the disadvantage is that it's pretty congested, particularly for southbound in the A&P from Histon Road. There's no specific bus priority within certainly the Histon Road part for buses. It's a relatively complicated junction, I guess, because it's got different arms and different leading lanes. There's no real provision for cyclists at the moment, and pedestrian crossings aren't facilitated on all arms, and they're not, the ones that are there aren't on the desired arms necessarily, and the public ground and the presence of trees and green spaces are great. So, again, arguably the advantages and disadvantages of current design, because there are restricted terms, in theory, there's more capacity within the junction. How you choose to use that is nothing. And because of that, there's greater capacity for southbound vehicles, which includes buses on Histon Road. It's more simplified, the junction, and there is the introduction of some slight priority measures, as is there green space and trees, and the crossing on the Victoria Road arm is slightly closer to the pedestrian design line, but as you know, there are band turns there, which means there will be some how much and where is debatable, but some extra traffic on other routes. Because the configuration of junction has been flipped round, it's reduced capacity in theory, priority for east-westbound, now it's on the north-southbound. Pedestrian crossings still aren't on all the arms, and the eastbound cycle movement compared to the east-westbound the eastbound compared to the westbound is less direct, it's not as easy for cyclists. So these are some points. There are other points as well, it's just to get kind of minds thinking. So I've just selected one of those cross sections to illustrate this point as well. So this is the one just north of Victoria Road, looking northbound towards Gilbert Road. So there's the existing and there's the due maximum. So very quickly looking at existing. At the moment there is parking on the north side or west side of the road, on one side of the road, but there's no cycle lanes, and the footways at 1.75 metres are relatively narrow. The current design, proposed design, there is the instruction now of the southbound cycle lane, but there's no northbound lane. The footways are still fairly narrow, and the southbound cycle lane has been introduced basically at the expense of the parking on one side of the road. So that just explains the thought process that you might have to go through. So this is basically the scoring process. So what we have here is those factors I talked about, and then we've got the existing layout, the current design, and then alternatives. And this kind of table allows for up to 3. Whether you have 3, less than 3, as we see. So the idea is to look at each of these factors. And firstly, this is kind of optional, but there's a weighting on the end there. So this is for us to understand what you think is the relative importance of those different factors for this scheme, for this area. So we're saying here at the bottom, look, 1 to 10. So where 10 is very important. So you could have all 1s or all 10s. It's not meant to be 1s, 1, 1s, 2, 1s, 3. So that's the first thing. And then the idea is to look at the existing layout and work down those factors and say, how well does this work at the moment? Where 1 is very poor and 10 is very good for those different factors. And then you can move on to the current design, the proposed design, again, score them again, and then look at your alternatives. So what this is really useful for us is kind of quantifying it. This isn't a perfect scoring process, but it gives an idea of what you're thinking about how well the different types of design work for these different factors.
Since you said we would be accepting alternatives, and several of us have an alternative, well, for example, distributed, how are we able to get into the scheme any rating? What if everybody prefers a design that we're proposing as an alternative? How do you get that information? There's no room for it.
Well, you could mark that plan up as alternative A, and then you're scoring that against alternative A. If someone else happens to mark that up as alternative B, they can score. As long as the plan that you're assessing is marked,
Yeah,
and
but
you tell us what the score is.
plans that are marked A, B, and C.
Yeah. Your plan's marked A, B, C.
No, it's like this is marked A, B, and C, but there's a third one, a new one on the table. Because you have these other things that we would like to present, and there's no way for us to be assessing that.
Just change it at the time. Yeah. And if it's not consistent, as long as everyone changes it, it's consistent within their plan. If it doesn't, if you're working the same alternative plan, and they call it B, you call it C, doesn't matter, as long as we can relate it onto another. If it's not clear as you start, then we can go around and revision and help you mark it up.
Yeah, to facilitate, if there's already plans on the table, just mark them what you want them to be called. So Victoria Road, whatever the junction is, and then mark an alternative A, and then refer to us scoring back to that plan. As long as you do that, mark your position, so we know what reference you're giving that, that's not a problem.
Yeah. Just let us know. The only thing to say, just on the cross sections, because it's different in cross-section to plan. So the ability to manage the network of a section of the street, I don't think it's really relevant. It's not the same as a junction. Ability to control congestion at a junction is not the same as looking at cross-section of the street. So I just highlighted that you probably don't want to score that for those cross-sections. Does that make sense? So, just for me to say, so that's effectively what we've got on the table. So that's the assessment process. I'm just going to hand over to you. Has anyone got any questions on that for me?
I may be being stupid, but I don't understand where options B and C come from.
Options B and C is just to give you room on the page. If you happen to work on 3 alternative plans tonight, it gives you room to score 3 of those plans.
It's for us to draw on that, our own option, and then assess it. Is that the idea?
If you haven't already got, if you've already got an alternative drawn up and you want to assess that, then you might start with that. If you have assessed that and you think of another alternative, then you can draw that on the plan. So it gives you the ability to draw your alternative. There's no point, if you've got a well drawn out plan already, there's no point trying to hand draw, replicate that on the plan. Just reference it. So we know what the scoring against.
Everybody says this one is going to C, and I just add a result.
We don't all have the same plan
Yeah.
necessarily,
Yeah.
B and the C.
That's fine. As long as it's okay.
Can I just make a point of this? When you started your presentation, you said about the situation now, and the timing now. I thought we were looking at the future of Histon Road, not what's happening now.
Yeah, so in terms of doing that, that's why we're giving you these options here. So this is your typical sheet. So you've got the existing situation, so this is what we're working with, and you've got to, what's useful is if you can rank that under existing, we can see where you see the current problems with that junction. So that's got to be our starting point, isn't it? Then we've got our current design in the do maximum scenario. So how do you feel that compares, you've rated existing, then you're rating the current design, which is along here, against the same criteria. Then either you've already got a plan you reference as alternative A and you do that, or you design your own design here on this section and then rate it accordingly. So we've given you 3 of each of these, A, B and C, so that if you have 3 different ideas you can do that. Alternatively, if you've already brought your own design, you can just reference that as alternative A and use that as part of the ranking. Yes?
Neil, this is more about a question about what you do with the information. I think the way you've explained it is that the output is predominantly numerical.
Yes.
Is that the intention?
Yes, so what we do is this will go back into a report, our second report, so we've already issued the first one, which you provided comments on. Thanks for those that give me comments. This will come back into a second report and we'll culminate all this together and give you a scoring. All we're doing is feeding you back that information. Scoring this doesn't mean that if everyone gives it a 10, we're going to just take it on and that's it. You've all rated it higher and therefore it's given. It's just so we can then look back and see whether there's consensus in the room around designs or not, really. That's essentially it.
Okay. I think there is a potential weakness in the approach, which is that there may be a very good reason why the low score is recorded by an individual or individuals. But if there's not the mechanism to say why that is the case, you'll just simply wait for the results and say, oh, the room as a whole thought this was an order of preference or what have you, without getting to some critical issue which...
Well, effectively we're taking these plans back in. So if you want to highlight this to edit out and comment on here, where the key concerns are, or identify, apologies, maybe we should have had notes here, but feel free to write explanations of why things are scored. All this will be recorded. Whatever you put on these sheets, as you've seen from the past reports, we're not trying to hide or do anything underhand. We're just literally reporting back to you what comes through on these sheets. So if you want to edit that to explain some of the scoring around what you're thinking, then that's fine.
In practicalities,
yes.
We were asked to group in 3 and now 4 tables. Are you organising this by table or by individual? Because individuals will have
to make it manageable for us to bring it together, we're doing it as groups, as we've done through the process. So you're currently 4 groups, and so it's agreeing a weighting between you in that table as part of the workshop scenario, essentially. And seeing you may have alternative views in your table, and that's part of it, in terms of discussing and seeing whether you can reach consensus on those issues. That's all the workshops have been like that, and that's what this workshop is also about.
Excuse me, there's one basic thing I want to understand.
Yes.
Is it assumed that the left turn from Histon Road into Victoria Road is something that you wish to do away with?
So the left turn from Histon Road.
Travelling south, okay? When you get to the junction and you want to turn left into Victoria Road.
So you want to take this turn here?
Well, there's the existing turn that people take nowadays.
Yeah, so in the do maximum design, buses will be able to undertake that, but no other buses and cycles, but no motor vehicles.
Do we have a carte blanche to overturn that idea? Is it our own idea?
You can certainly suggest your own idea. In terms of, if I go back, what we've been asked to do, or what the executive board has said, is excluding the idea of banning the right turn into Warwick Road and the idea of floating bus stops, to develop 2 preferred design options, one including and one excluding the changes at Victoria Road Junction. So one will be without band turns and one will be with band turns, essentially. Okay?
When it says the changes, it means that term.
Yeah, it's referring back to the maximum, the do maximum design. So the do maximum has band turns at the moment, so we take that as the alternative would be not to have the band turns.
Yeah, but that change is just referring to that term rather than anything else.
Yes, I guess it's all of it, really. So it's got one design in terms of, I guess, changes. Yeah, this is what we're left with. This is what they said. So I guess it's everyone's interpretation in terms of that. But we're taking that as having the band turns or not having the band turns. Given it refers back to band turns in Warwick Road.
Just be clear on this issue. In terms of the Histon Road, Victoria Road Junction, the band turns are in effect. It means that general traffic will not be able to access Histon Road, will be able to access Victoria Road from all the other approaches that come to the junction. So effectively, Histon Road will act more as a way out of the city centre more than a way into the city centre at the present time. Buses and taxis and cycles will be exempt from those, and but it does mean you won't be using Histon Road. You won't be able to go from Histon Road, Huntingdon Road, and the rest of the junction to go into Victoria Road to use it to go into the town centre. So,
Go from Huntington Road, they can either turn left or go straight.
you won't be able to access Victoria Road from the other approaches to the junction. You can come out of the city that way, you won't be able to go in via Victoria Road. So that's what the current proposals are. You may want to do variations on that, but you might not want them at all. But that's what's built into the proposals at the present time.
And the logic behind that is to make the traffic flow out.
The logic behind it is to speed up traffic on Histon Road, because by simplifying the way the junction operates, you can give more green time to the Histon Road traffic, so the delays will be reduced. That's the rationale behind it.
It's really the Castle Hill traffic, though, isn't it? That's where you're going.
Well, not all, but that's part of it, but it impacts on other movements in the junction. It doesn't come, at no cost at all.
I would find it very helpful if the people who have put a lot of work into producing some alternative schemes could just take us through those. They're on the table now, and I've not seen most of them before, so to ask me to look at them and understand them and comment on them is rather a lot.
We're just coming to that. We're having a 10-minute slot for those alternative proposals to be explained. We're coming to that shortly.
Is there something with traffic lights on your environment?
There are traffic lights at the junction now, and there would be afterwards.
Do we know where they are?
It's a signalised junction, so every arm will have
They've all got
signals on. Putting them on probably something for us to worry about exactly where they're located, but you assume every arm is signalised.
yes, all these approaches.
Okay, so in terms of, obviously, we had no idea what alternative designs were going to be brought to us, so we can't prepare for that. But what we've agreed is to give 10 minutes to Matthew Matthew, is it, to present on the alternative designs. Yeah, that's one. Yep, so if you've got a stick or something you want me to load up on my laptop, that's not a problem. But we need to be strict with the time, guys, because I know we did this with Milton and it did run up, so if we can try and keep to 10 minutes. Yeah.
Fine, carry on. Yeah.
I'm thinking it's not that new in what's the name of the road.
So minutes now.
Basically, we're very grateful to the people who are doing the basic work. They obviously are working on the whole city, and they're working on a global scheme. Those of us here, what, is it not on? No, is that what you? Okay, sorry. I'm usually not accused of being too quiet. The one thing that is very striking, basically most of all of us know this junction, the Victoria Road, Histon Road junction. It's seen by almost everybody who has local knowledge as the holdup, the dam that stops everything. The one thing that's clear is whatever happens, and there's a tax on the global plan of the city deal, whether there's light rail or anything, the one thing that's clear is that that junction will not disappear, and they're not going to be changed, that nobody's going to tear down buildings. So how do we deal with that junction safely for cyclists? And it's not going to change. The fundamental topology is that we've got a 5-way junction, and therefore the critical thing is the timing, and the timing of the lights. And so we've looked at this, and the city deal proposal has a big bulge in it, which would change for the future the topology, in a sense, and forbid a gracious growth. So we've tried to stick with the general topology to make it safe for cyclists, safer. So every one of the arms has a crossing, and the crossing is taken back from the corner so it's safe. There are bicycle paths on the side, and Matthew will run through how the thing flows. So what you have in front of you is the basic diagram that shows the street markings, and then the inside of the package shows how that functions to flow, how the traffic will flow. And the stoplights, the very important point to note, is that all the traffic lights are at the crossings. So the thing that is different from what